China has retaliated against Japan as it had promised to do, slapping a blanket ban on Japanese seafood imports. It fears contamination from treated radioactive water, which Tokyo began releasing today from the wrecked Fukushima nuclear plant. Last-ditch appeals by activists and by the Chinese government failed to halt the discharge, which was given the all-clear by the International Atomic Energy Agency.
日方强行启动核污染水排海，公然向全世界转嫁核污染风险，这是极端自私、极不负责任的错误行为。所有的利益攸关方都有权利、有责任采取必要的防范措施，维护海洋环境安全，维护食品安全和公众健康。
Chinese customs suspended imports from Japan of all aquatic products. China was the biggest buyer of Japanese seafood last year, importing about $600 million worth of produce. And Chinese territories Hong Kong and Macau also announced bans covering Japanese seafood imports from 10 regions. Meanwhile, protests as well in South Korea. Police arrested at least 14 people who stormed a building housing the Japanese embassy in Seoul. South Korea is maintaining import bans of Fukushima fisheries and food products until public concerns are eased. North Korea also denouncing the water release, demanding that Japan immediately call off the discharge. Pyongyang described the move as, quote, unforgivable, as an unforgivable crime against humanity for which Tokyo will be held accountable. Japan's plan also facing criticism at home. There were demonstrations in a town near the plant, while protesters were also seen outside the headquarters of TEPCO. Now, that is the power company that runs the Fukushima plant. Local fishing groups continue to voice their opposition on concerns about damage to the reputation of their seafood.
総理は、民政の理解を得てから、放出するという約束をしてたんですけども、その理解を得ずして、放出を決めてしまったっていうのがちょっと理解に苦しみますね。
ただやっぱり一般の家庭の人たちから見たら普通に気にはなるっていうぐらいな話ですね。
Japanese officials are pulling out all the stops to mitigate growing consumer backlash against the country's marine products after the release of the treated radioactive water. CNA's Michio Ishida has more for us from Tokyo.
The wastewater discharge at Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant began at around 1 p.m. local time.
今回の放出に関しましては、先ほどのご質問にあった通り、24時間連続で放出する予定でございます。機器の故障あるいは何かトラブルがございましたら、一旦立ち止まるという姿勢のもと中断するということになります。
Authorities say what goes out to sea has been diluted so that the level of tritium, the radioactive material which cannot be removed through the processing system at the plant, will be capped at well below 1,500 becquerel per liter. And that has been confirmed by the International Atomic Energy Agency, which now has a presence in Fukushima. That would mean wastewater that's been discharged would have met much stricter safety standards than those set by the World Health Organization. To dispel any fear of possible impact on marine life and the environment, TEPCO said it will take samples of seawater near the plant every day. The Environment Ministry will do its own sampling. The Fisheries Agency said it will test fish caught near the wastewater discharge point for their tritium level. This as China expanded an import ban to shut out marine products from Japan. As a major buyer of Japan's marine products, China's import ban will hit local fishermen hard. At a news conference on Thursday, TEPCO President Tomoaki Kobayakawa said he will make an effort to explain to China the safety measures taken. He hopes China will lift the import ban as soon as possible, and he pledged to compensate Japanese fishery exporters if that doesn't happen. Michio Ishida, CNA, Tokyo.
Our Japanese restaurants in Hong Kong are expecting a further 30% dip in business as the city's import controls on seafood from 10 Japanese prefectures kicked in. CNA's Deborah Wong tells us more.
To say that Hong Kongers love Japan is an understatement. It's the top travel destination for Hong Kongers. The city is also Japan's second largest market for seafood exports after mainland China. Now that has placed some Japanese restaurants on the spot after the ban kicked in. Already, industry leaders say business has dropped 30% over the last few months.
We expect that the business will further drop by another 20 to 30%, or even more for some high-end restaurants. Most of their products are directly air freight from Japan to Hong Kong on the same day. And if don't have enough variety, quantity of the fishery products for the restaurant, then the business will be affected.
Mr. Wong believes the supply shortage won't lead to a spike in prices, as merchants' priority is to retain customers. Optics, however, remains a concern.
我哋覺得個生意始終最大個問題都係信心咯。咁我覺得暫時我哋保守估計可能都即係講緊50%啊、4-5成呢啲生意，我諗最開頭一定都幾大影響。即係亦都好老實講，我哋覺得日本嘅海鮮始終個質素上面咧，同其他地方亦都有個距離。咁所以當而家真係實行嘅時候，我哋有部分嘅來貨，我哋會嘗試可能揾其他嘅地方去替代，或者俾多個選擇個客人。
The ban will hit Mr. Siu hard, as the products from the banned Japanese regions account for almost 20% of its offerings.
主要譬如海膽就北海道啦，另外好大部分養殖嘅魚場又喺九州啦。咁但係生蠔啦，生蠔其實喺嗰邊嘅蠔場比較多嘅，咁嗰邊可能受影響會大啲咯。咁當然如果可以有一啲類似好似消費券啦，或者係部分現金嘅資助到我哋業界，呢個係當然係最好。
The government had earlier said it will not disperse financial support as restaurants were given ample time to plan ahead. But many are still recovering from the economic fallout of the pandemic restrictions. Now, to mitigate the effects of the ban as well as to promote confidence, the government will be issuing certificates to restaurants that offer safe seafood. The import ban applies to 10 prefectures, including Tokyo, Fukushima and Nagano. It covers all fresh, frozen, chilled, dried or processed seafood, as well as sea salt and seaweed. Overall, this accounts for about 10% of Japanese seafood imports coming to Hong Kong. Neighbouring Macau will also implement the ban from Thursday, covering goods from the same 10 Japanese regions. While Japan has maintained that the treated radioactive water is well within international safety standards, Hong Kong says it's reasonable to be worried.
用一個比較保守、比較安全嘅方式，係可以向市民保證到，就算係可以入口香港嘅所有日本食品，都必定係安全嘅，大家可以咧係放心嘅食用。我亦都覺得呢一個係一個最好嘅方法咧，嚟到係咧去幫助我哋香港嘅日本嘅餐館咧，以及咧係維係咧即係咧香港同埋日本喺食物方面嗰個嘅貿易嗰個嘅關係嘅。
As to when Hong Kong will lift the ban,
我哋睇嘅即係考慮嘅因素都係一籃子嘅。譬如我哋會睇嘅就係日本聲稱嗰個排放嗰個系統咧，嗰個運作係咪即係正常啦？睇下佢哋喺日本方面嘅海水啊、水產啊個輻射水平個數據係點樣？我聽到香港嘅一啲嘅專家都會講話，要令到嗰啲數據咧可以取信於其他嘅經濟體咧，佢哋專家嘅意見就係應該日方咧都應該係考慮下咧係有一個即係第三方嘅參與同埋認證。
Hong Kong will release screening results of Japanese food imports daily and conduct its own study on radiation levels in local waters. Deborah Wong, CNA, Hong Kong.